Okay, so let's dive in. We've got quite the collection of sources here for early June 2025.
Yeah, quite a mix.
We're talking BitcoinInfoNews.com, CoinMarketCap, Cryptocurrency Press, CanalCoin, it's Bitcoin World, the CoinRise Media, quite a few.
Right. It gives us a nice sort of snapshot view, doesn't it? Not just one angle.
Exactly. And I think our goal here is really to unpack all these different pieces, market rankings, what corporations are doing, potential future issues.
And see what it all tells us about the crypto space right now. The dynamics, the undercurrents. It's a really interesting cross-section we've got.
It really is, because you see these specifics like news on certain companies, but also the big market trends, new coins appearing.
And even experts looking way, way down the line at like technological hurdles.
It just shows how many layers are constantly moving in this ecosystem, doesn't it? All at the same time.
Mm-hmm. And one thing that kind of jumps out right away is how fast narratives can, well, shift, or how rumors get stamped out.
Oh yeah, like that Ripple and Circle talk.
Exactly. The sources point out that Ripple came out and specifically denied any acquisition talks with Circle.
And the denial itself is interesting, right? Shutting down a big rumor so quickly.
Well, it tells you something, doesn't it, about how these major players manage their public image.
And maybe try to control their strategic messaging in such a, volatile market.
Precisely. And then kind of alongside that narrative stuff, we see actual concrete shifts happening on the ground, like with PancakeSwap.
Ah, yes, PancakeSwap. It apparently jumped to second place in weekly crypto fees.
That's what the sources say. Actually overtook Circle in that specific metric for the web. Tether's still #1, sure, but seeing a DEX.
Of a decentralized exchange.
Yeah, a DEX, like PancakeSwap, pulling in more fees than a huge stablecoin issue like Circle.
Right.
Well, that's pretty telling.
That is a key point. The fees specifically, because fees usually mean actual use, right? Activity. So it's not just like trading volume alone. It's the platform generating revenue from, from people actually using it. And PancakeSwap beating Circle there, even for a period.
Yeah.
What does that suggest?
Well, it could mean a lot of activity in DeFi apps, things built on or using PancakeSwap, maybe really strong retail engagement or specific niche markets using it heavily.
Compared to the perhaps broader, more traditional financial uses for Circle stablecoins.
Possibly. It definitely shows that the decentralized part of the crypto world is still a major, major driver of activity.
Okay, so shifting from platform activity, let's talk about the bigger players. The sources also really highlight this growing corporate and institutional interest.
Oh, definitely. You've got Adam Back, big name in Bitcoin, obviously putting his own money, like $2.1 million, into H100 Group.
And specifically to back their Bitcoin treasury plan.
Right. And then almost right after, DigiAsia Corp announces their own plan. A pretty substantial one, too, $100 million into Bitcoin and Ethereum for their treasury.
And this is where it gets really interesting, I think, when you connect these dots. Because this isn't like venture capital investing in a crypto startup. This is companies putting serious cash onto their own balance sheets as Bitcoin and Ether.
That's a whole different ballgame.
Right. It's a fundamentally different level of adoption, isn't it? What's it mean when corporations start treating these like actual reserve assets?
Well, it signals a much deeper belief, I think. They're not just seeing them as speculative plays anymore, maybe as genuine long-term stores of value. Or, alternative tools for managing their treasury right alongside cash or bonds.
And that lines up perfectly with things like the BlackRock Bitcoin ETF, doesn't it? The speed of that thing.
Oh, absolutely. IBIT, the sources mention it's a phenomenal top 25 ETF ranking speed.
Which is just incredible, really, getting into the top 25 ETF by assets just through sheer accumulation. That fast.
It tells you about the pace of demand, right? And probably the source, too. Meaning it suggests a huge, very rapid inflow of capital, likely from those bigger, more traditional investors you mentioned.
Institutions, wealth managers.
Yeah, maybe even retail folks who just feel safer with that ETF structure. They might have been sitting on the sidelines just waiting for this exact kind of regulated product.
And that speed. We didn't really see that with earlier crypto investment products, did we?
Not quite like this. It really points to a major new channel opening up for traditional money to flow into crypto.
Okay, so we've got this big push from institutions, corporations getting strategic, driving massive ETF inflows.
Right. Big money moving in.
But it's not just about the big money, is it? Because the sources also mention the ongoing platform stuff.
Yeah.
Like Binance listing new coins.
Yeah, that's a really important counterpoint, actually. It shows that other layer of the ecosystem is still humming along.
The engine keeps running.
Exactly. While the institutional gears are turning, you still have major exchanges like Binance listing new altcoins. They listed one coin, Resolv.
Resolv, yeah.
Yeah.
On their alpha platform and for futures.
Right. And that's where, a lot of the retail buzz still happens, where new projects try to get noticed and build momentum.
So you've got this kind of top-down institutional wave layered with this constant bottom-up bubbling of new tokens, platform competition, user activity.
It's both happening at once. But then one of these sources throws in something totally different, a potential long-term spanner in the works.
The quantum computing threat.
Yeah, that's this whole other dimension, thinking about fundamental vulnerabilities.
So the sources mention analysts, like Rick Maida.
Right. Financial analysts expressing basically serious worry. As of early June 2025, they're concerned the crypto sector is potentially far from ready for what quantum computing could do.
To the cryptography, right, the stuff that secures the blockchain.
Exactly, the very foundation.
That's fascinating timing, though. Why are analysts ringing this bell now? What makes them feel the industry is far from ready? Any clues?
Well, it suggests that maybe while everyone's focused on price charts and adoption rates, these experts are looking at the actual timelines for developing powerful quantum machines. And they're realizing the necessary upgrades for blockchains, the switch to quantum-resistant crypto. It's just not happening fast enough, or maybe hasn't even really started seriously.
So the worry is that the window to fix this potential future problem, it might be closing faster than people think.
That seems to be the concern, that the industry isn't really acknowledging it or acting with enough urgency. It forces you to think beyond just market hype.
Yeah.
And consider the, long-term technological sturdiness of the whole thing.
Okay, wow. So let's try and pull these threads together then. We've got the Ripple denial, PancakeSwap climbing the fee rankings, corporate treasuries loading up on BTC and ETH, the BlackRock ETF exploding.
Binance listing new stuff, and this looming quantum shadow.
What is this whole snapshot, this collection of news from early June 25, what does it really show us?
I think it paints a picture of an ecosystem that's just firing on all cylinders, but on multiple different levels at the same time. You've got specific companies managing PR, you've got user behavior shifting platform metrics, you've got big capital making strategic, deeper commitments.
Plus the constant churn of new projects, new listings.
And then these fundamental future-looking warnings from experts about the underlying tech. It's definitely not just one thing driving the bus, you know? It's this complex interplay.
Right. We've definitely covered a lot of ground, from market indicators like fees and listings to corporate strategy driving ETF flows, that bit of rumor control, and then this peek into a potential future tech challenge.
Exactly. And looking at all these sources together like we did is so crucial, isn't it? To get past just the day's headlines and see how these different forces connect or sometimes pull in different directions.
Yeah, you see how a company putting Bitcoin on its balance sheet, an analyst worrying about quantum computers, and a new coin listing on Binance. They seem separate, but they're all pieces of this same evolving puzzle that you're trying to figure out.
It helps you see the whole matrix, not just the blinking price ticker. So maybe this leaves you with something to chew on. As you look at this snapshot from early June 2025, what do you think is the biggest force shaping crypto right now?
Is it the big institutions and corporations finally moving in seriously?
Or is it still the grassroots activity, the new tech, the stuff happening on the platforms themselves?
Or maybe it's those potential long-term challenges like quantum computing that really demand the most attention, even if they feel far off.
Yeah, something to think about as you navigate this space yourself.